Hey everybody, and welcome to your November 13th edition of Fed News. And starting off with breaking news, next week the Ultimate World War III 60-man three-ring battle royal takes place between the WWF brand, the WCW brand, the Raw, and SmackDown brands. 15 superstars from each brand, 3 rings, 1 winner. I decided to put this first till the end. Let's break it down. So here are the 15 men from each brand competing in this gigantic World War III Battle Royal. These are the top 15 superstars, excluding the world champions from each brand, as they are not eligible for this. The winner, of course, will be given a world title shot for their brand championship in an upcoming pay-per-view. The entry to each ring was done at random, and here is the results. Ring 1, you got Perfect, Shawn Michaels, Smash, Psycho Sid, Randy Orton, John Cena, Rock, Seth Rollins, Matt Riddle, Booker T, Triple H, Ken Shamrock, Chris Benoit, The Fiend, Test, Giant, Jake Roberts, Great Muta, Terry Funk, and Lex Luger. In Ring 2 is Diesel, Hawk, British Bulldog, Axe, Andre the Giant, Million Dollar Man, Shinsuke Nakamura, Jimmy Uso, Roman Reigns, Edge, Cody Rhodes, Austin Theory, Shelton Benjamin, Eddie Guerrero, Batista, Brock Lesnar, Finn Balor, Rey Mysterio, Kane, and Ric Flair. And over in Ring 3 is Razor Ramon, Bret Hart, Animal, Owen Hart, Bob Backlund, Jey Uso, Moose, Bill Goldberg, Steve Austin, Billy Gunn, Jeff Hardy, Paul Orndorff, Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage, Barry Windham, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Larry Zbyszko, Stevie Ray, and Zeus. The breakdown of the rings was you have 4 people from the WWF in Ring 1, 5 from Raw. SmackDown would take 6 spots in Ring 1, WCW with 5, so pretty equal numbers in Ring 1. However, in Ring 2, WWF would have 6, Raw would have 7, SmackDown has 6, and only WCW has 1. Ric Flair is completely separated from the 4 Horsemen, so we'll see if he gets thrown out or ganged up on by the other brands to be eliminated first. Into Ring 3, of course, you have WWF with 5, Raw with 3, SmackDown with 3, and WCW with 9, taking a lot of spots up in Ring 3. Now, what's going to happen is once it is down to 10 people in each ring, the company will then move everybody over to Ring 2 to take place in a 30-man final round elimination. So stay tuned for the results from that, as they'll be posted next week. Now over to normal news here. In Your House Ultimate Ruler took place with Andre the Giant and the Million Dollar Man defeating Hulk Hogan and Mr. T with stipulation that they had to disband from tagging, the losing team that is. So Hogan and Mr. T will no longer be forming a short-lived tag team. Shawn Michaels defeated Bob Backlund for the WWF European Championship after earning his shot during last week's show. The Undertaker defeated Iron Sheik, ending his undefeated streak. LOD defeated Demolition. And Diesel and Razor Ramon retained over the British Bulldog and Owen Hart for the tag titles. Mr. Perfect defeated Bret Hart for the Intercontinental Championship after interference from Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels still, of course, keeping that rivalry with Bret Hart alive. In the main event, the Ultimate Warrior retained over Psycho Sid for the WWF Heavyweight Championship. Now on to Saturday night, we had Zeus and Stevie Ray defeat Marty Jannetty and Warlord, earning their place into the Battle Royal. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard as well defeat Lex Luger and Terry Funk to move up into the contention as well. Barry Windham would defeat Randy Savage, and the Giant defeats Ricky Steamboat to advance towards that number contendership shot again against Sting. Ric Flair would defeat Sting, meaning the 4 Horsemen would actually be victorious throughout the whole card. Over to Raw now, as the Boogeyman would defeat Dolph Ziggler, Matt Riddle would defeat Moose, Seth Rollins in a hard-fought match against AJ Styles, Edge and Randy Orton would defeat the Usos in a non-title match. The main event, though, however, did see Shinsuke Nakamura defeat John Cena for the United States Championship. This took place after they drew at the pay-per-view to crown the unclaimed title. Over to SmackDown now, Xavier Woods would defeat Scotty 2 Hotty, Kane defeats Apollo Crews, Batista and Eddie Guerrero defeated Test and Booker T, and Rey Mysterio would get a win back over Jeff Hardy after losing to him for the Cruiserweight title. And the main event saw Triple H defeat Stone Cold Steve Austin. This week, AEW decided to take a week off to rest all the performers. NXT as well. However, new WCW, DIY would defeat the Street Profits, Bobby Lashley would return and defeat X-Pac, Scott Steiner defeats Gunther, and the main event, Karrion Kross defeats Braun Strowman. Over on Velocity now, it's Rikishi would defeat Road Dogg Jesse James, and Cesaro defeats Mankind, with the main event of Bam Bam Bigelow and DDP defeating D'Lo Brown and Farouk. Over to Red Impact now as Val Venis would defeat Tony Nese. Mike Knox defeats Crash Holly. And the main event saw Jerry Lynn defeat Mr. Kennedy. To Blue Impact now as Scotty Riggs defeats Heidenreich. Joey Ryan would defeat Delirious. In the main event, Sean O'Hare defeats Bill DeMott. Sean O'Hare, of course, has signed with the SmackDown roster. However, the tentative start date is not yet finalized, but that he will finish up the rest of his contract with Impact Blue before heading over there. Over now to the IWGP, where Matt Striker defeats Chuck Palumbo, Lance Storm would defeat Joey Mercury, and Zack Sabre Jr. and Mike Awesome would end in a time limit draw. There's also AAA now as Gangrel and Kevin Thorne defeated Chris Bay and Jimmy Jacobs, the Vampire Warriors becoming an official tag team. Roosh defeats Noam Dar, and Rene Dupree continues undefeated streak, beating Dexter Loomis. No show this week for quite a few shows. However, the WWE ECW would have a show as Cedric Alexander defeats Angel Garza, Velveteen Dream and Rich Swann defeat Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik. Kalisto and Enzo Amore ended a time limit draw, and the main event saw Ezekiel Jackson defeat Dean Malenko. Over on Excite Wrestling, EC3 and Jinder Mahal defeat Las Matadores. Brodus Clay defeats Heath Slater. Titus O'Neil defeats Drake Maverick. And in the main event, a tag team action, Viking Raiders defeated the Undisputed Era. The NWF had a short match as well. Big Boss Man defeating Billy Graham. Kevin Von Erich defeats Kamala. And Yokozuna defeats Red Rooster. Over in CWF, Gerald Briscoe defeats Tito Santana. Hillbilly Jim and Nikolai Volkov versus Typhoon and Tatanka ended a draw as a double countout took place, and Mabel in the main event defeats Jimmy Snuka. TNA would have a match card this week as Amazing Red would defeat Rob Terry by DQ after the referee had to stop Rob Terry's assault on Amazing Red. Crimson and Matt Morgan would defeat Johnny Stamboli and Buff Bagwell, and the main event saw Abyss defeat Ivan Putski. Over to NWA now as Killer Bees defeat Tony Atlas and Tank Abbott. The Mountie would defeat Steve Blackman, and Gorilla Monsoon and Buddy Roberts defeats Draws and Bastion Booger. Draws, of course, would turn on Bastion Booger after the match, assaulting him. The main event would see Abdullah the Butcher and Kevin Sullivan end in a double countout. Over to the IWF now as Marcus Corvan, Muhammad Hassan, and Celestial Kai defeat the Spirit Squad in a return match. Deuce and Domino would defeat the Bashams. Rosie defeats Shannon Moore, who is still kind of grieving from the fact his contract was not picked up as originally thought. And Orlando Jordan defeats Tyson Tomko. No show this week. However, there was two minor shows as Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows defeated Will Ospreay and Evil. And the main event saw Hiromu Takahashi defeat Tetsuya Naito. Over to the NXT Minor League as Gronk and Mojo Rawley defeated Akira Tozawa and Hideo Itami for the NXT Minor Tag Team Championships, Minor League that is. And in the main event saw Tyler Bates defeat Bo Dallas for the NXT Minor Championship, Minor League of course. And that's it for all the shows. So Shawn Michaels win the European Championship, Mr. Perfect win the Intercontinental Championship, Razor and Diesel retain their World Tag Team titles. Their WWF World Tag Team titles, excuse me. The Ultimate Warrior retain his WWF Heavyweight Championship. Mojo Rawley and Gronk winning the NXT Minor League Tag Team Championships. Tyler Bates winning the NXT Minor League Championship as well. That's all the news for this week. Hopefully you enjoy. Make sure to check back next week when we find out the result of who won the World War III Battle Royal.